My best friend loved playing jokes. On my birthday, she projected my worst photos in front of everyone, saying she just wanted to liven up the mood. When I was on my period, she deliberately gave me a defective pad. Even when she saw the stain on my clothes, she said nothing, claiming she was helping me get more attention. After I started dating, she edited my photos into suggestive images and spread them across social media groups, pricing them like a product. When I finally snapped and confronted her, she just laughed. "I'm just helping you test your boyfriend," she said. "If he doubts you, then he doesn't really love you. How can you blame me?" Later, a man used the information from those posts to track me down and harm me. I did not survive what followed. However, when I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day she first shared those images. My phone buzzed in my hand, so hard my fingers went numb. I looked down. The DMs were stacking up faster than I could read them. "Sophia Shaw, come on, we're classmates. Give me a discount. 50 for one round deal? With a body like yours, who could stop at just twice a night? I've sent the money. I'll meet you at the hotel you pinned tonight." My mind went blank. I threw the phone away. That suffocating feeling like a plastic bag being pulled over my head came rushing back, choking me. Had I been given another chance? Before I could think it through, the door opened slightly, and Tara Mansfield's perfectly familiar face leaned in. She looked exactly the same as she had in my previous life. Between her fingers, she waved a card printed with my explicit photos, grinning. "Sophia, I made you famous on this campus. How are you going to thank me? You have no idea. I was just joking around, but those disgusting guys went crazy asking me for your contact." The old me would have already been crying, asking her how she could do this to me, voice breaking. Not this me. My teeth clenched so hard they hurt. My whole body trembled with anger. I snatched the flyer out of her hand and slapped her across the face. Tara screamed, clutching her cheek in disbelief. "You hit me? I treat you like my best friend, and you can't even take a joke anymore? Best friend?" I let out a cold laugh. In my last life, she spread rumors about me, dirty lies that ruined my reputation. She made my boyfriend Connor Pierce point at me outside the dorm and call me a salt in front of everyone. Back then, I thought he just did not love me enough. A few days later, I caught her kissing him outside the dorm. I heard her tell him, "I've always known Sophia isn't as innocent as she pretends. I just didn't say anything, because she's my best friend." Calling me her best friend in public while going after my boyfriend behind my back. I pointed at the phone on the floor. My voice came out flat. "A joke? Did you ask me whether I thought it was funny? You'd better start thinking about how you're going to explain this to the deans spreading lies about me." Just then, footsteps came from the hallway. My roommates, Holly Lane and Cassidy Mars, walked in one after the other. Holly went straight to Tara's side, concern written all over her face. "The dean? Tara, what's wrong with your dad?" That's when I remembered. From the day Tara enrolled here, Tara had been using the fact that she shared the dean's last name to hint that she was his daughter, never confirming it, but never denying it either. My family was the school's biggest investor. I had already confirmed with my dad, the dean did not have a daughter. In my previous life, I treated her like a friend. I thought she had her reasons, so I never exposed her. But this time, I was not going to let her keep up this act in front of me. Tara quickly composed herself, eyes filling with tears, voice trembling. "I made one little joke and she hit me." "What? She hit you?" Holly came charging across the room, jabbing a finger at me. "How could you hit Tara? Who do you think you are?" Tara put on a pitiful expression. "Connor Pierce is the campus heartthrob. Why would a guy like that fall for someone like you, ordinary as you are? I was helping you, testing whether he really loves you." Cassidy caught on and let out a mocking laugh. "I knew it. Tara was helping you and you throw a tantrum? You really think highly of yourself." Holly piled on. "It's just a couple of dumb flyers in a group chat. You are so fragile. We're in college, people joke around." It hit me, listening to them, how easily I'd let this happen the first time around. That had ended with me locked in a basement by some pervert who saw the flyer. 3 days. 3 nights. I died there. Not this time. I kicked the chair next to me hard enough to send it sideways. Joking around? Then why don't you put your own names and numbers out there and sell yourselves? I looked them dead on, one at a time. Cut the chatter. We're going to the dean's office. Or I'm calling the police. The air fell silent for a few seconds. Then they burst out, laughing. Tara lifted her chin and tossed her hair. Even if you take it to my dad, what is he going to do, Sophie? Really? I knew her too well. She was banking on me caving like I always had. That ended now. Giving in only gets you trampled. I stepped closer. If you're not scared, let's go right now. Seeing I was serious, her expression stiffened. She quickly grabbed my arm. My dad's busy. He doesn't have time for nonsense. And since you're my best friend, I don't even have to tell him. Before she finished, I turned and walked off. She hurried after me. As long as I found the dean, this would be easy to settle. I sent my dad a quick message and headed downstairs. I got to the front of the building and walked straight into a wall of muscle. I looked up. Connor Pierce. His face was dark, his eyes filled with the same disgust as before. Before I could react, his hand struck my face. The sound rang in my ears. Sophia, didn't expect you to be this shameless. His mouth twisted into a sneer. You wouldn't even let me kiss you before. What was all that pretending to be innocent for? My cheek burned, but I did not even blink. I did not feel anything for him anymore. Anyone who turns on you because of someone else's words was never worth anything. The slap was loud. People quickly gathered around. Tara came panting up behind me, took one look at the scene, and threw herself at Connor with a sob in her throat. Connor, what are you doing here? He pulled her behind him protectively. Was she bullying you? She did the broken little hiccup. I just didn't want Sophia to bother my dad over something so small. She glanced at me sidelong. Maybe I'm the one who messed up. I'm her best friend. I should have stopped her from doing something like that. Connor's face went black. He pulled her closer. Tara, what are you blaming yourself for? Don't bother with someone like her. It's a fact that she's selling herself. She has no shame, and now she won't even let people talk about it? He whipped around and yelled at me. I cannot believe I gave you a chance. We're done. The crowd erupted. The men looked at me with vulgar eyes, like they wanted to strip me bare. If even her own boyfriend is calling her out, the $100 rumor must be real. The women glared at me, furious. She walked around acting all stuck up, and look at her now. The dorm supervisor pushed through the crowd. When she saw Tara's tearful face, her expression immediately softened. What's going on out here? Tara spoke softly, still sniffling. Sophia was insisting on dragging the dean into something stupid. I was just worried she'd ruin the dorm's reputation. The matron's face went purple. She rounded on me. I have had it with you. You stay out half the night every night. And now you're running a side business out of a dorm room? And now you're picking on Tara on top of it. Tara's tears fell even harder as she pointed at me. I've seen it myself. More than once. Coming back late at night with different men. I just never thought she'd be desperate enough to start running it on campus. That was all the crowd needed. The shouting got worse. I let out a cold laugh, my eyes fixed on the dorm supervisor. School rules say anyone returning after midnight has to sign in. If that's true, just check the log. In all my time here, I had only been late once. That night, I attended one of my father's events, and the dean personally brought me back. Tara, on the other hand, came back drunk in the middle of the night all the time. The supervisor's expression stiffened. She hesitated. It's the middle of the night. Sometimes a sign-in gets missed. I nodded. Of course. She had already decided Tara was the dean's daughter. She was not going to log her in either way. I pointed at the security camera over the front desk. If the log can miss things, then we can check the footage. That should settle it. Tara's face changed. She grabbed my sleeve. Sophie, why are you still struggling? Just stop now. There's still time to turn back. I shook her off. My voice came out cold. The one who needs to turn back is you. Sophia, why are you doing this to me? I started toward the security room. Connor suddenly grabbed my collar and shoved me aside. Enough. Sophia, drop the act. He curled his lips into a mocking smile. How about this? You kneel and apologize to Tara, and we'll pretend none of this happened. I stared at him. Kneel to her? Is she even worthy of that? His expression darkened. He reached out and forced me down. Don't push your luck. I'm giving you a way out. And you're still acting tough? I stumbled, nearly losing my balance under the force. I lifted my head and stared straight at him. All it takes is checking the cameras to see who's been sneaking out at night, and one phone call to the print shop would prove whether those flyers had anything to do with me. Why won't you check either? He burst out laughing. Selling yourself and still expecting people to believe you? What a joke. His fist slammed into me. That's for seducing men and ruining this school's reputation. The blow was heavy. Pain shot through my body like my bones were coming apart. The crowd joined in. Hit her again. People like her deserve it. And she still wants to go to the dean? Once the dean hears, she's expelled. Expelled? I laughed. I actually laughed. I yelled it back at the guy who had said it. The one getting expelled is going to be you. I am the daughter of the school's largest investor. Even if I offended the dean, there was no way I'd be the one forced out. While I was down, I rolled over, pulled out my second phone, and quickly dialed my father. Someone in the crowd sneered. Still pretending? Calling one of your clients to back you up? Everyone on campus knows what you are, Sophia. Tara was smirking too. Sophia, are we done with the show yet? I ignored all of them. I forced down the rage and spoke into the phone. How far out are you? On the other end, I heard hurried footsteps and a voice filled with barely contained rage. He was coming. Fast. I was about to say more when Connor snatched the phone out of my hand and stomped on it until the screen shattered. Tara stepped forward full of smug satisfaction. So, your customer is almost here? Is it the 100 per time one? Or the 200 for 3? At that moment, a stern voice cut through the crowd. What in the hell is going on out here? The crowd parted on its own. The dean strode in, white as a sheet. Behind him, my father, his expression even darker. The dean's gaze swept across the crowd, then landed on me. My swollen cheek. The torn collar of my shirt. The shattered phone at Connor's feet. His face turned ice cold. Who touched her? Silence. A moment ago, everyone had been screaming. Now nobody dared speak. My father stepped forward. The pressure rolling off him was enough to make several students lower their heads. Tara forced out a shaky smile. Uncle, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Don't call me that. My father's voice cracked through the courtyard like a whip. Tara froze. The dean frowned. Miss Mansfield, since when have you been acquainted with Mr. Shaw? Tara's face turned pale. Connor stepped in front of her. Sir, Tara was only trying to protect the school's reputation. Sophia's been selling explicit photos of herself online and... Enough. My father looked at him as if he were something filthy. Do you have proof? Connor immediately pointed at the flyers. The evidence is right there. The dean took one, looked at it, then looked at me, then looked back at Connor. His expression became stranger and stranger. Finally, he asked quietly, did anyone verify where these came from? Nobody answered. The dean's voice sharpened. I asked a question. Tara swallowed. They were circulating online. So no. The dean nodded, then turned toward the security office. Bring the camera footage from the last 30 days. Tara's knees almost buckled. The dorm's supervisor rushed forward. Dean, is that really necessary? We all know Tara wouldn't lie. The dean stared at her. And why exactly do we know that? The supervisor opened her mouth, then closed it, because she had no answer. 10 minutes later, the footage arrived. The entire crowd watched. The first clip showed me returning late one night, stepping out of my father's car, the dean himself walking me inside. The date matched the only late entry on my record. The crowd began whispering. The second clip, third, fourth. Every accusation Tara had made disappeared one by one. Then came the footage of Tara herself, sneaking out, sneaking back in, drunk, sometimes with strangers, sometimes after 3 a.m. The dorm supervisor's face lost all color. Connor looked stunned, but the real killing blow came next. My father raised a hand. A middle-aged man stepped forward, the owner of the print shop. He immediately pointed at Tara. That's her. The crowd erupted. What? The man's voice was loud and clear. She's the one who ordered the flyers. I remember because she specifically asked for hundreds of copies. I even have the order records. Tara's face turned deathly white. No. The man pulled out his phone. The receipt. The payment records. The messages. All bearing her name. There was nowhere left to run. The crowd exploded. So Tara made them? She framed Sophia? Oh my God. Connor staggered backward. He looked at Tara. Then at me. Then at Tara again. His face was filled with disbelief. Tara, I can explain. Explain what? I finally spoke. My voice was calm. Too calm. You told everyone I was selling myself. You spread edited photos. You distributed flyers. You lied to the dorm supervisor. You convinced my boyfriend I was a prostitute. I stepped closer. Each word made her retreat another step. Tell me, which part needs explaining? Tara burst into tears. It was just a joke. The words had barely left her mouth before a slap echoed through the courtyard. Smack. My father had struck her. The entire campus froze. His voice shook with fury. My daughter almost had her life destroyed. And you call it a joke? Tara collapsed onto the ground. The dean looked utterly disgusted. Miss Mansfield, effective immediately. You are suspended pending expulsion proceedings. The words hit like thunder. No, she screamed. You can't. I didn't do anything. The dean looked at her coldly. You forged connections to my family. You harassed a fellow student. You distributed defamatory materials. You've done plenty. Then he turned toward the dorm supervisor. As for you. Her legs gave out. The dean continued. You ignored evidence. You abused your position. You are suspended pending investigation. The woman nearly fainted. Meanwhile, Connor looked like someone had drained all the blood from his body. He stared at me. Sophia, for the first time, he seemed to realize what he'd done. The slap, the insults, the humiliation, all because he had chosen to believe Tara without a single piece of evidence. I was wrong. His voice cracked. I'm sorry. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. In my previous life, I had cried for this man, loved him, trusted him, and he had thrown me away the moment another woman pointed a finger. You know what's funny, Connor? He looked up hopefully. I smiled. If someone had accused Tara today, you would have demanded proof. His face froze. But when it was me, all you needed was gossip. The hope vanished from his eyes. I stepped past him. You never loved me. You loved the version of me that was convenient. Then I walked away. Behind me, I heard Tara screaming, heard Connor calling my name, heard the crowd turning on them the same way they had once turned on me. But this time I didn't look back. Because in this life, their downfall was only beginning. And I intended to make sure they paid for every single thing they had done. 3 days later, the entire campus knew the truth. Not because of rumors. Because the evidence had been posted on every official school board. The print shop receipts. The edited image files recovered from Tara's laptop. The messages where she bragged about making Sophia famous. The security footage. Everything. There was nowhere left for her to hide. The same students who had once defended her now crossed the street to avoid her. The same girls who called her kind and generous suddenly remembered all the strange things she had done over the years. The stories started pouring out. A freshman revealed Tara had stolen her scholarship essay. Another student produced screenshots showing Tara spreading anonymous rumors. A third admitted Tara had pressured her into paying for friendship gifts. The investigation grew bigger by the day. Then the final bomb dropped. The dean publicly announced that Tara had never been related to him, not even distantly. For years she had built her reputation on a lie. The campus exploded. People felt humiliated for falling for it. The backlash was brutal. Within a week, her suspension became permanent expulsion. Her parents arrived to take her home, while dozens of students watched. No one said goodbye. No one wished her luck. The girl who had once walked around campus like a queen left with her head down and tears streaming down her face. As for Connor Pierce, his punishment came differently. The university couldn't expel him for being an idiot, but they could punish him for assault. The security footage clearly showed him striking me. Witness statements piled up. His athletic scholarship was suspended. His position as student council vice president vanished overnight. Sponsors dropped him. Internships withdrew their offers. The campus heartthrob became a cautionary tale. One afternoon, he cornered me outside the library. His eyes were bloodshot. "Sophia, please." I kept walking. I know I messed up. Walking. I was manipulated. Walking. "I loved you." That made me stop. For a second, hope flashed across his face. Then I looked him straight in the eye.
"No."
His smile faltered. "You loved being admired." I glanced at him. "When everyone insulted me, you joined them. When everyone hated me, you hated me too. If the truth hadn't come out, you'd still believe I deserved it." His face went pale, because he knew I was right.
I turned and left.
This time, he didn't follow, because there was nothing left to say. Months later, my life had completely changed. The school invited me to help create new policies against cyber harassment. My grades improved. My confidence returned. Most importantly, I stopped apologizing for taking up space. One evening, as I left a meeting, my father handed me a folder. "What's this?" "Something you should see." Inside was a report. Tara had tried appealing her expulsion. Rejected. Tried transferring. Rejected. Several schools had requested records. Once they saw the findings, they passed. At the bottom of the page was a recent photo. She looked exhausted. Alone. Forgotten. For a long moment, I stared at it. In my previous life, I would have felt satisfaction. Maybe even joy. Instead, I felt nothing. Because the real revenge wasn't watching her life fall apart. It was getting mine back. I closed the folder. My father smiled. "Proud of you." I smiled back. For the first time in 2 lifetimes, I truly meant it. And as I walked toward the future that had once been stolen from me, I never looked back.